Man, BBN, it is March Madness. Welcome into this new episode of Believe in Kentucky. It's the time of year everybody's looking forward to, anticipating is finally here. We start this episode off with a legend, a UK legend from Louisville. Did his thing at Dawes High School, brought it back to the Cats, part of the 96 champs, NBA champ, writer, producer, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and there's many titles, many hats. Talking about DA himself, Derek Anderson. DA, welcome to the podcast, man. How you been?
I've been great, man. It's good to be on your show, man. Excited.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You hopped on with TD when he was hosting with me. You hopped on my other little podcast when you didn't even know who I was, and you were still kind of.
Yeah, good people, man. Good people.
Look, man, first time I got to meet you, it's been 5 or 6 years ago. You been from Louisville, but you were in Harlan County, where I'm from, with yourself, Cameron Mills, Anthony Epps, down there at the festival that they had in Harlan, and got to meet you. My little boys got to meet you. My dad got to meet you, and just had a fun Saturday down there, man.
It was cool. Good place too, man. Gotta get back.
That's right. That's right. You down in my neck of the woods, man. It was cool. So how's everything been going with you, man?
Man, it's good. It's March Madness time, so I'm excited, man. Just enjoying life and staying on the go.
That's it. And we'll talk about all that, but I'm gonna talk about something in the future. I saw you tweeting out here in a couple of weeks. You're gonna be speaking at the Lewis Honors College. You've been doing your thing with stamina. You've been writing. You've been speaking. You've been giving back to community. So you're gonna be, set to talk at the Lewis Honors College here in a couple of weeks. So that's pretty cool to come back to UK and be able to talk to the student athletes there and students.
Yeah, Thomas Lewis. Tom Lewis is a great guy. He's giving back to the university. Great guy. Wrote a great book. Just excited to be able to help that program. You know, people have always helped us out, so it's good that we can come back and help our alma mater out and keep pushing guys and young ladies forward to the next life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Have them as prepared as possible when they get out and decide which direction they want to go. Right?
Yeah, this real weird world.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, let me go back to you being from Louisville. I want to get your perspective because there's tons of UK fans in Louisville now, but was that the case when you were coming up? Was it always as many, or was it maybe not as many back then when you were a youngster coming up? Or how was it?
We grew up, we had to watch what was on TV, and back then, you had like 3 stations, and the station that didn't come in was Channel 3, which Kentucky was usually on. So we didn't get to watch Kentucky as much. We saw the University of Louisville, so we watched them. It's all we had to do. So, we watched on 4 stations, and like I said, one of them didn't come in, so the other 3 we watched, and we just all became basketball fans, really. The separation came as you got older, but I don't remember being that many Kentucky fans when I was younger. But again, we were almost just watching what we could, and I think that was significant for a lot of young guys because we didn't even watch the NBA. Wasn't nothing out in the 80s, so we were just kind of watching what we could. And if you could see some games, you would watch them and you try to emulate those guys. So it was a different fan base at that time because most people in Louisville were just Louisville fans. That's all we knew. You know what I mean? So for me, when I started watching all basketball and watching UK and Kentucky dunks all on TV, and it was different for me at that time.
So, and that's what made me wonder too. Um, so when a guy like Winston Bennett from Male goes to Kentucky, do you remember that? Was that maybe the start of it changing as far as Kentucky fans in Louisville, or was that how did that impact you as a kid? Like, oh, he going to UK from here.
Well, you heard about him doing that, but it didn't impact us because we weren't looking at college like that. We were looking at being the best in our neighborhood. That was our college, being the best in your neighborhood, then being best at your high school. A lot of people, there was no big dream of ours to play there, to play at a college. Like it was different for us. When you're in a project, your survival was more important than sports. So we were just kind of like daily kids working jobs, cutting grass, working at the grocery store. Like we had normal jobs, see, like 13, 14, and 15, where now these kids are being driven to games.
Right.
So it was different for us. So hearing Winston Bennett going to Kentucky, it didn't really gravitate to me until I was about to leave school. And I was like, they said, hey, Winston went to Kentucky. And I'm like, really? Where did he live at? And they said, oh, he lived behind you. And I was like, Fenway? And like, never knew that, so it was different and unique, but I wouldn't say it didn't affect me in that sense until I was older.
Yeah, I just thinking about when I knew he was coming on, I need to ask him about that just to
Yeah.
see what it was like, or from your perspective, at that time in Louisville. So I appreciate you, going in detail about that, because I guess maybe for people Winston's age, it was like, oh man, but for you, you were just like you said, you just one day to the next.
Yeah. Exactly. Literally one day to the next.
Yeah, I understand.
Like 1 hour to the next hour.
Yeah. So when you did get to decide to leave, about to leave Dawson, pick a college, initially go to Columbus, to Ohio State, right?
Yeah. Yep. I went to Ohio State. Coach drove 3 hours down, man, and unfortunate my house situation where I couldn't take any financial aid, so I had to go to a place that's gonna give me a scholarship, and he offered me a full ride, and I was excited, man. And great atmosphere, great city, great fan base, great dude. Everything about that situation was good. It's just unfortunate happened. What happened to the players on the team my sophomore year? Because I would have probably never left if that situation wouldn't have happened. Um, with all those problems happening at the school. But when I did get that opportunity, I had a decision to make, and I got an opportunity to go back and pick Kentucky. Rick Pitino called me and was like, hey, if you guys are leaving Ohio State, we'd love to have you here. That was all I needed to hear.
Yeah. So coming to Kentucky, and of course, it's always the blue blood, the tradition, basketball school. Football teams trying to come up now had a few good years, but back then it was definitely all about basketball. So you were coming to a basketball school. It sounded like you enjoyed your time at Ohio State until you decided, better did I leave. What was it like being a hooper at the football school that is Ohio State? That was,
Yeah,
what was that like?
it was different. It was definitely different. But again, their fan base was all about their fans. I mean, about the players. So no matter if you played soccer, sold out crowd because they supported each other. So I thought that was a good element of why I chose to go there. So I thought it was it's a great fan base to me. I mean, it's just they've always been solid. And here's what's crazy is they had no expectations of us winning the championship, so there was no pressure at all. You just played a game that you loved and you enjoyed it, and it was packed out crowd. So it was different. Definitely different from UK and Ohio State. It was like the flip flop.
The football team had all that pressure and weight.
Yeah, they had pressure every weekend. Yeah.
You gotta beat Michigan. You gotta go undefeated. You gotta beat Penn State. You gotta win the Big Ten. You gotta go to the Rose Bowl. You gotta win this championship.
Yeah. Everybody they played was like, I was like, man, y'all got a tough game again. Like, man, yep.
Yeah, so it's cool that you weren't overlooked. They still gave y'all love, even though they was all more so about football. They still had love for the Hoopers. That's good to know. I was wondering how that was.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Definitely.
Now, we mentioned it. Everybody knows you won part of the '96 championship team at Kentucky. You went on to win a championship in the NBA. So when it's time to lock in, like you said, it's March Madness time, and of course you locked in and was a key part of a title run. You got to win 6 games in NCAA. Of course, you lose 1, that's it. You got to win 16 in the NBA, but of course it's not one and done. It's a series. So what's the differences when you got to lock in mentally when it's postseason time as a collegiate player and as a pro player? What's the similarities or what's the differences?
Well, the college it was easier to lock in from a standpoint that we played hard because that's all we had. When you're in the NBA, it's like, man, I got 82 games. So if you're a 69, you're like, man, I'm gonna just kind of chill on this play and see if I can cheat the play. You're not really focused on the scouting report as much sometimes, and then you'll buckle down sometimes in the fourth quarter because you had a long season. But in college, it was like we were always ready to play. Like that was the greatest time of my life was college basketball. not high school, not pros. It was college because it was like everything that you put into it mattered. Like you said, losing one game meant you weren't going to be ranked in the top 5. So we was like, no, let's win. Let's every game we go out, let's give everything that we got. You know what I mean? So I think college was a different preparation, and we focused on every game that we played, man, give it everything you got. You know, there was nothing else. Like we couldn't wait for a game. You know, practices was so hard anyway. It was like, it was ridiculous. I mean, you think about Wayne Turner and Anthony Epps going at it, Tony Delk and Jeff Shepard, me and Ron Mercer, Antoine, and like, I mean, you looked at our team and every day was like hard. So when we got to a real game, we was like, well, I know ain't nobody just as good as this guy. I just practice against. So it became easier for us to play games, and it became more passion, fun. So we gave everything we did in college basketball more than anything.
So as hard as it was, because I've talked with TD about it, talked with Cameron Mills about it, talked with Anthony Epps, all you guys about how demanding Coach P was, how hard it was. You just talked about how the games were an off day. As hard as all that was still more fun than you playing at Doss and being the man. That was still more fun in high school.
Yeah, man. Because Doss, it was like I had already dominated from I was like after my sophomore year, I was like dominating. So it wasn't like I was getting a lot out of it. Like I was dominating, getting better, you know, still trying to do things. But when I got to college, I was like, okay, now everything is even. You know what I mean? I want to dominate that crowd. And it was kind of like that's a different crowd. Because you know, you get in high school, you got like, you know, you might play 20 teams, 20 different teams. Where you're in pro, I mean, college, you can play a team that's in Kansas, you can play a team that's in California. Like that's a different type of player. You know, I saw most of the guys I played in high school, I played against them in the park. So college was definitely a different atmosphere for me.
So it was the challenge became tougher. It was like you said, it was more okay. It's you can't just show up and just do what you've been doing. Now it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's so you. Yep. It was what you were wanting. You were wanting to, after your sophomore year. You basically like, all right, I got this. So you were looking for somebody on your level to kind of go toe to toe with. Sounds like.
Yep. I had a guy, Carlos Turner in Louisville, was my guy, but we had grew up playing with each other in the project, so I knew him. You know, I had a teammate on my team who was just as good, so I knew those guys. I was looking for somebody new to like challenge me. Right. So after I got to college, I found it.
It makes sense. It makes sense. And all y'all, man, talk about the, you know, it's just practice was just such a war that the game, the 2.5 hours of the game was just like a walk in the park after y'all just.
I mean, it was like we were, hey, when I look at the clock and see it's only 5 minutes ago, everybody be begging to go back in again. Hey man, let me go back in. I mean, games are just like people really used to think like, man, y'all really listen. These games there's nobody's gonna outlast us or outwork us. So we knew we was gonna win a game, even if it was close. You know what I mean? So it was like, you're not gonna beat us because we already went through all the wars of practice. So we couldn't wait to games, man. Practices was like walking towards practice. You felt like it was a NCAA game. Like, man, I hope we get through practice today. So it was different, man. But it definitely paid off.
Yeah. You mentioned that, you know, back, you know, these kids today won't know, but not as many options on TV. You can't just flip on anything you want. So you mentioned there wasn't a lot of NBA on. You just kind of caught what you could catch and saw who you could see and emulated who you could. So who did you get glimpses of in the pros that you tried to emulate or maybe saw coming up when you did flip on the TV? Who were some of the guys that you did try to pattern your game after?
Well, it was what happened was when you did get to watch TV as I got older, like in the 10th and 11th grade, they had like WGN, which is Chicago. I watched Jordan. And then they had TBS, which is Atlanta. So I watched Dominique Wilkins. So those are the two guys I got to watch. And that helped me with my dunking because I used to go out and try to do all their dunks. And I wound up mastering every dunk that they had. But those two are the guys I just looked at, hey, those two guys are going to score. They know how to play. They play defense. So I just kind of patterned my game after both of those guys. Just I wanted to dominate. I wasn't physically built yet, but I could jump. And I wanted to make sure that I posed that same threat when they went and played. I wanted to play just as hard. So when you saw me coming, you was like, oh, he's going to come play hard. So those are the two guys I emulated going out of high school.
Had Travis Reed on here a couple weeks ago, played at UCLA, West Coast cat, and he
Yeah.
went and played overseas for years. But he was always paying attention to Kentucky. Of course, he played against the '98 team, in the Sweet 16
Mm-hmm.
and against those guys. But he mentioned your name came up. He said, I watch Kentucky closely, and Derek Anderson was one of the most athletic two guards I'd ever seen. He was doing all kind of dunks and crazy thises and that. And we was just talking about you, man, and him out there in California checking you out before he went to UCLA, man.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got a pattern that you want to kind of emulate. I started learning from Penny Hardaway. I just took things because I was a 6'6" point guard my whole life until I got to college, and then they would move me to the two guard, sometimes a small forward. So but then when I got the ball, I was so fast and so athletic that you didn't know that I was actually a point guard until I got to the NBA. And then again, and it was like those things shine. And when players see you play, they emulate those things if they can. So Travis, like he was an athletic dude. So, you try to, and it's fast. So you try to emulate people who similar to your game.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense. Now correct me if I'm wrong. I'm fixing to assume, but you know what happens when you assume. So I might be totally wrong what I'm about to say. But
Right.
you strike me as a dude that doesn't really get starstruck by a lot of people. I don't know if is
I
that
don't.
true? You
Yeah,
don't, right?
no, I don't.
So I saw you tweeted out, a few weeks ago, NBA had the top 75. You got pictures of yourself with Magic, MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Kobe, and you just congratulating them on being top 75 players, and we all worked and we all earned, and you saluting them for that accomplishment. So, what were your interactions like with those guys? Just off the court, you just kicking it with them, just hanging out with Kareem, hanging out with LeBron, or being with Kobe before he passed. Just your memories of being with all those guys.
Well, I took a lot from each one of them. MJ, of course, was my boss. So since '97, I've been friends with him forever. So we had 100 pictures together. But playing against Kobe, we would always compete. We would talk after games or before. Um, Kareem, we had a great conversation. He was my coach when I was playing for the Clippers. He was my assistant coach, so I got a good relationship with him. And Magic I've always been a fan of his game because he was so smart. So I would play in his charity game. He told me, "Hey man, you ought to do this, this, and that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we played together. And he made an alley-oop pass to me one time. He looked at me and I spin and made a dunk. And he was like, "I like playing with smart players." So I always tried to take something from each player. And I think those guys actually helped me in a lot of different ways see things different. They could see things one way and I could see things another way, and it'd be the same picture. So it was just a lot of knowledge that I was trying to gather from them, and they was always open and receptive. I'm not a big, "Hey, I took a picture with this." I'm not that way. So when they met me, they were like, "Man, you so down to earth," and I didn't know you was from Kentucky, and they were like, "Yeah." I was like, "Man, I'm a normal dude. I just happen to be blessed to play basketball. So I'm no different than anybody on this planet. I just want to be treated with the respect and try to learn stuff from people." So they've always respected that, and those memories, man, were incredible. Like you just knowing those guys, and I played with Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade. Like I've played with guys who have always shown me something outside of basketball in a different light that I would try to see how I could better myself. I never wanted to be someone else. I just wanted to be the best me.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense too. Um, and so it's hard for fans to we all breathe the same air, put our
Mm-hmm.
pants and socks and shoes on the same way, but all y'all are blessed to do what you did in the NBA at the highest level. So you get that larger than life. You get that, oh my God, oh that's DA, oh that's D Wade, oh that's Kobe. But you can kind of see through all that and they just regular dudes like I am, and so you just like you just not even in
Well, I
awe of people like that.
I was fan struck like Ric Flair. I was like, I want to be in the full horseman. Like I was starstruck about certain things. It's just when you're in basketball, you're not really I'm used to it. But when I was outside of that, oh yeah, I'm a music fan, a wrestling fan. Like, no, you're still a fan. You ain't nothing you can do. I saw Ric Flair. We was over trying to take pictures.
You
So
you
it's fun.
fanboy when you met Ric Flair.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to see him. We were just trying to take pictures from him from around. I didn't chase him down or nothing, but I was trying to take pictures of him. Yeah, like went to a Prince concert. Like he's trying to get his pictures. I was jamming. Like you're a fan of things that you admire, man. So that's just a natural act. It's just I'm just not a basketball super fan of it, but everything else, football, music, all that, I'm a big fan of that too. So I get when fans come up to me. I'm like, I'm the same way with other stuff.
Right. So did you have other talents? But did you have a little musical talent? Did you have a
Yeah,
little?
I write music now. I still write music. I've been writing music 30 years now. I've been writing music for people. I do a lot of stuff privately, man. I don't want no more fame. I just want success, man. I'm not into that. So like I'm writing movie scripts and whatnot. So I'm a big fan of writing. I like to write journals and books and stuff to kind of leave a legacy besides sports. So I'm huge into that. I ran track too. I was really good at track. I high jump, but I ran track. I was super fast. I just grew like 4 or 5 inches in 2 summers, and that was it.
The basketball path for just
Way better. Way easier too.
Absolutely. We definitely got to get into this year's team too. But man, let me just thinking back at your games in UK. What game, in your opinion, were you most in your bag in your time in Kentucky? What game stands out where you're like, this one, ooh, I was in my bag that night? Which one of those jumps out?
I've had a couple, man. Like we played Indiana, I had like 23 and a half. The first half, I had like 23 dunking, putting people, like I was destroying them. But then we played Georgia Tech, and I was shooting fadeaway, running screens like MJ. I watched his game, came off a screen, shot a fadeaway with legs kicking. Like it was just like I've had games. I don't know, man. I've had a lot of good games. Of course, the Louisville game, that was my best. That was my best time because I knew what I was doing. I was trying to embarrass them. So it was a little personal game against Louisville, but I think Louisville, the Indiana game, Georgia Tech game, those 3 games stand out because I did everything. I showed every part of my game: post ups, shots, threes, dribbles, passing, block shots. Like I pretty much displayed my whole game that day. I played 18 games to get drafted lottery, so I knew I did enough. The NBA teams that saw me play.
Mm-hmm. Slashing, like you said, attacking the rim, catching Nate slipping, and we, oh man! And then the dunk too against Indiana, and I was like, "Oh, don't dance, D. You gotta dance. You gotta do that." And it was like, "Yes, you do." After making a play like that,
we were having fun, man. Kids.
Yeah, for sure. Now, who is college and pro the funniest dude that you've been a teammate of in college and pro? That's just pure comedy, has you cracking up all the time. That funniest teammates you play with in your career.
By far, Shaq. Ain't nobody close to that dude. I mean, nobody in the world is close to that dude. He is super funny. I mean, I didn't know he was that funny. That dude was hilarious. He could have been a comedian if he wanted to be. He run in the locker room with what trainer, like the news people come, he just walk out like butt naked and just run across the thing. Everybody just run out. And he's like, interviews are over. He was hilarious. Dude was funny.
For 7-footers, is it, people are super tall. I mean, you're tall at 6'6", but the 7-footers, maybe a lot of them not comfortable in their skin or don't
I don't know
for being that tall. But it seemed like Shaq didn't care. He's 7'1", big and tall as he is. He was just as comfortable in his skin as it could be. No apprehension, no hesitation. I'm 7 foot. I don't care. Don't talk to me. He was.
That's some person. I don't know. I guess he is if he felt like that, but Shaq was just a normal dude. But people don't realize how athletic that dude was. Like when people talk about centers, I'm like, ain't nobody. We haven't seen nobody like that in our lifetime. Never. Like you could talk about Wilt and all that. Wilt wasn't running the ball, bringing it like that, spin moving, passing. Wilt was just a different man child for his size. But Shaq was different. Shaq was. We've never seen anything like him before.
Just lead the break. like really just out in transition like that.
And then he had power. Then he was smart. Like I think people looked at him because when he gained the weight, and, his career kind of was up and down. People said, "Oh, he didn't maximize all that." But man, there wasn't nobody better than that. Dude. Like he was a different breed. I love Kareem. I think Kareem's a great player. Hakeem's got the best footwork. You can talk about Russell, but the best rebound and best defense, but nobody was Shaq. If they would have all said, let's play a one-on-one game, Shaq would have beat every center that ever played against basketball. Yeah, Hakeem would have been his biggest challenge because of his footwork and his shooting. Because Hakeem Olajuwon was different. He just wasn't Shaq.
And for you to seen all these players, played against all these players, been around all this athleticism, and for you to say that about Dream, that must for y'all to be impressed by, because you're in this world all the time, but for them to still be like, that dude was different, that carries weight.
He's different. But you got to realize there are people who are fans, and then there are people who actually know basketball. Like some of these sports writers are fans. Like there's no way Tracy McGrady shouldn't have been in the top 75 over some of these other dudes. You got these young generation, ESPN, all these other people who have zero clue about real basketball. They'll look and say, oh, he averaged 20. Well, if he shot 20 shots, of course he's going to average 20. Look at his game. Does he know how to play? Does he know what he's doing? Is he dominating at whatever he is? And Hakeem Olajuwon is by far one of the best players. But you think about some of these guys say, I'll take Russell, I'll take Wilt. I'll take Kareem because he's got the sky hook. Bro. No, if you're talking about pure talent, pure skill, those two guys are by far the two best. It's like when you hear some of these other, even like my boy Charles Oakley said, Giannis would have came off the bench. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have been on nobody's bench because he's too good. You know what I mean? But everybody's got their opinion. And that's why I say it's hard to even have conversations with people because they'll start to get emotional about it and not speak the truth. And then once you tell someone the truth, they'll be like, oh, I didn't see it from your perspective. I see it now. I know, because you're just a fan, which is cool. So there's no problem with that. But I just think when you look at pure skill, pure gifted talent, pure work ethic, pure playing, pure everything about the game, Hakeem Olajuwon had the best footwork, smooth jump shot, up and unders, all of that. And Shaq had all the power, the smarts, the move. He had all of that. And nobody could stop either one of them guys at all.
That's for sure. You mentioned Giannis, and you talk about the work ethic, the drive, and the talent. We've, saw him when he couldn't hit a jumper at all, and he was still getting to the rim, and you kept thinking, if he ever gets a jumper, he'll be scary. And now we've seen the jumper improve. We've seen the 3-point shot improve. Has he tapped out, or has he still got a lot more potential with the way he works that he can still get his game to, in your opinion?
Yeah, if he learns to fade away, if he gets on that post and stop dribbling so much, imagine when he slows down from dribbling. Where is he gonna go? To the post. He's already 7 feet, so just take a 1 or 2 pull away, fade away, and just start knocking down. Switch. That's his next evolution of the game. LeBron tried to do a little bit of it, but he doesn't. He's more of a pass first guy. Because if he took people in the post, ain't nobody gonna stop that dude down there.
Why do you think that is? I mean, sometimes
personal thing, man. Like the world. I ain't gonna say, I don't know how to put this, but if he would have ever had a killer instinct, we would have saw something special. Man, ain't nobody stop that dude. If he wanted to just go out and say, I'm gonna shoot every time I touch this ball, you at his mercy. I mean, the dude is just that good, but he likes to pass. I don't know, but he just loves to pass the ball, and that's okay because that's just who he is. But
yeah.
If that dude ever said, you know what, I'm gonna go out, like he just gave somebody, was it Golden State 56 or something?
Yeah.
He could do that every night if he wanted to. He literally could do that every single night, but he'd rather have 12 assists, 10, get everybody involved. He's just a great. That's his character as a person, though. Think about all the good he's done off the court. That dude is just a good-hearted person, man. So, sometimes we wish we would see him go off of 50 and 60. But, he's just going to get his 20-something, get his 10, 15 assists, and he's cool.
That's just
there's nobody. Yeah, there's nobody. That dude, he's a different breed.
It's just the way he wired, huh?
That's just the way he's wired. Ain't nobody can change him either. He's been in the league for 17, 18 years, man. You can't change this dude. I mean, we've complained to this dude, man, shoot the ball. Man, he ain't hearing nothing we got to say. He said, I'm playing the game the way I want to play, which is cool, man. It's just, I mean, to teach his own. But that dude is he just wired different. That's what makes him a great person, though. Like him being able to like have an unselfish heart and unselfish character. That's that's what makes him a good person.
Couple guys too before we get to the Cats, but still young guys. But I don't know if maybe their career is it at a crossroads? Is it like Ben Simmons and Zion? How you think it plays out for both of those guys with what we've seen them go through in their first few years?
Zion's more health. He's more Grant Hill style. Like if when Grant lost his thing, it took Grant time to get back. I think that's kind of Zion's thing. Once he gets back and loses his weight and getting his bones healthy, I think he should be okay. I think Ben's in a good situation too. I just think he's just got to have people around him who are leaders who are going to push him because he's pretty much been kind of like coddled a lot. He came out of high school, went to college. Everybody's been kissing up to him. I think now if he'll listen to KD and Kyrie, some guys, older guys who will get in him and say, hey, man, we need you to shoot. We need you to do this. And he accepts that, I think he'll be fine because he's the same way as LeBron. He could go off and get 25 and 30 every night. Can't nobody stop that dude on that post and when he's driving. He'll dunk all over you right or left. He's already right-handed, but he does everything with both hands. So I just think if he can accept the challenge of being a dominant player on both sides of the ball, his career change. We'll look up him in a couple of years and be like, dang, this dude really did a 360. Or we'll be like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what team he goes to. Like I love Westbrook, but nobody's ever been able to coach him and to understand, hold your follow through on your jump shot. Work on your jumper. Stop going 100 miles an hour. Like no one, I've seen work with all these trainers, but I don't know if he's not receptive or what. But I think once he's learning, okay, shoot my jump shot, trust it, live with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think those are the things that happen sometimes. Some players just can't adjust. But I think Ben and Zion, they got a 2-year mark before we'll have a real evaluation of them.
Is it going to be a vicious circle for Zion because you got to lose weight and get healthy? Mm-hmm. But it's lower body, foot injuries, leg injuries. You got to be on your feet to lose the weight. But if your feet if you don't ever get right, can you lose the weight? Is it going to be like round and round we go?
Well, you can lose the weight if your diet is right, but you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the good thing about it is when you're in the NBA, you literally can have a diet to where it teaches you like a water diet. Certain things when you're not playing, you can do that. It's just when he comes back to being healthy, does he stay on his diet? Because when you're playing, you got to eat. We have to eat. So I don't know how his body is, but I think he'll be fine. You won't know again until he's healthy.
Yeah, there's a lot of good food in New Orleans too. I'm just, just saying. When you look at this Kentucky team, it's a lot of guys making impacts that have transferred in like you did. Oscar transferred in, Severe transferred in, Kellen Grady transferred in. CJ Frederick is out for the season. He transferred in as well. So, you being a guy who transferred in, you know what that's like. And these guys would come in and made a big impact on this year's team.
Yeah, it was easy. I had already played against Kentucky, and I had scored like 20-something points on them. So it wasn't like I came in thinking I couldn't play. Like, I took a back seat so we could win. I wasn't going to shoot all the balls with Tony being a senior, and I'm not a selfish dude, so I didn't come in and say, oh, man, I can score more than you guys. No, I wanted to come in and play my role. That's how we were able to be so successful. Guys played their role right. But then the next year, you saw me pick right back up. And I think with these young guys now, they're learning to play their role. Like, Oscar's not asking for 30 shots, but when he gets it, he can make an impact, and then he go chase the rebound. He's being impactful because he knows his role. I think those guys that transferred in just accepted their roles. It took them a while. I think everybody's trying to figure out, okay, do I get to do this? Do I get to do that? Once they figured it out, that's why our team is so much better now. Like we look like a really, really good team because we're all playing the pieces that we need to play.
And last year you had Mintz and Toppin transferring too, but So you can add them to the mix of transfer guys. But cool to see Mintz since he decided to stay around. Last year did not go well. He was able to play in a full rep arena. He got the senior day love, and he's been moved to the 6-man now, but he still comes in and kind of provides that spark. Another ball handler, another shooter, kind of just doing what needs to be done. So it's cool to kind of see him have a true season at Kentucky the way normal things go.
Well, so long as he understands his role, he'll be fine. I think like a lot of times guys don't understand the roles. They're not signified. They're not understanding of what that is. So I think it's kind of hard for guys to say, I don't want to shoot too much, but if I don't shoot, like I'm not going to play. If I'm not being effective in some kind of way, I think that's a big key. So I think now he understands his role. If I get in, I'm open shot, hit him. Be aggressive on offense. That way you're not sitting around just waiting on stuff to happen. You're being aggressive. So I'm happy to see him get developed, and especially to have a senior night, man. It's good. Trust me, I know it means something.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was talking to Reggie Hansen about this the other day. I'm starting to kind of see, Jacob Toppin little by little start to put the pieces together offensively. Yeah. Starting to see him hit 15-footers. He's hit a few threes when he gets it. He's still kind of open for a reason. He's still like the fourth option when he's out there. He still has those moments. He's kind of taking it to the rim and attacking a little better. But it's kind of like little by little, you're seeing him put it together, and it's all kind of bubbling below the surface to where, like, next year maybe he kind of breaks out. Maybe the light bulb goes off, and you kind of see a breakout from him. What do you see when you look at Jacob Toppin's game?
This is confidence and understand that jump shot is there. Don't just shoot it just because say, hey, I'm wide open. Jab step, shot fake. Work on the things that are going to get you in rhythm. He just sees it. Sometimes he'll just shoot it because, hey, I was open. Like you said, it's open for a reason. Like sometimes you want to get in a rhythm before you just shoot a shot. I think he's learned that now. His athleticism is incredible. And I think next year he'll definitely, but I think he's going to have a good run in the tournament. I really do. I think he's going to really do some good things, man. And because people are kind of watching Oscar and these things, and you realize when you got guys watching other people is when you can get off. You know what I mean? So that's when his game's really going to flourish, and you be like, okay. I like that. So I'm excited to see him play in a tournament this year. I'm not worried about next year. I think he's going to do well this
year. Yeah. They just played at Florida to finish out the regular season. When you get to the end of the regular season, the last game or two of the regular season, you're a good team. You're going to be a whatever seed whenever selection comes around. Are you just ready to get to the postseason at that point? He's like, we done beat Florida by 20 at home a couple weeks ago. Got to come down to Gainesville. Let's just get to March. Does that ever kind of creep in where you're like, let's get this regular season over with? Or
when you're, like I said, when you're in college, you don't think like that. You think the first thing is I want to have fun, but I'm ready to go play basketball. So I hope they ain't thinking like that, because that's how you get beat. That's how you get beat. But no, I think they're all focused, and I think you don't rush the tournament at all. You just want to get this, because you think about the last regular season game being undefeated at home. That's the stuff that you be caring about. You like, man, look at the accomplishment. Enjoy those precious moments right now. So enjoy this season finishing with a good record.
When you got to the SEC tournament, and I know how hard y'all were working for Rick. At the end of it, 3 games in 3 days, how did y'all feel at the end of it? Because the NCAA tournament ain't like that. You got the Friday, Sunday, you got the Thursday, Saturday, you get a day in between. When you playing 3 in 3 days in the SEC tournament, was that grueling? Was that still cool because y'all was in such great shape?
I'm telling you, when you practice like that, we was happy we didn't have to practice. Because you think about it, you practice for 2.5 hours, you play for an hour, and then you only playing about 15, 20 minutes in the game. So everybody's still fresh. So nobody was out there playing 40 minutes a game. So we might have played 25, 30 minutes on court time, each player. We were fresh. We were fresh. Third game didn't bother us at all. We were completely fine. We just glad we didn't have to practice.
Right. That's so yeah. When you hear that and you say, "Oh man, they played 3 games in 3 days," and that, y'all, wasn't even no thing.
Nope.
Thing at all. Man, back to the NBA too. I got to ask you. Look, you've been all over the country. You've been all over the world. What was your And we talked to TD about this, and he always cracked me up because he couldn't stand Boston because it was so cold. He hated all the cold weather cities. He loved Phoenix. That was like his all-time favorite city for the weather and all that. And he felt good. Said his body felt good. He played 82 games at the end of that season. Was good. So, what was your favorite city or cities? Not from just the arena and all that, but just the city itself and all the cities that you've been to. Because you've been in the Eastern Conference, you've been in the Western Conference, you've been to all these cities many times. Which cities were your favorite cities?
They all have a different value. Cleveland was so many good, wholesome people for me. I loved Cleveland. Weather was terrible, but I love Cleveland people. San Antonio was really nice. Weather was always good. I did the same thing, 80 degrees, 82 games all season. I felt great. Houston's a great, amazing city. Portland has some really good people. Miami, of course, is Miami. LA, I have family there, so I got to see some of my family while we were at games. But those are it, man. They all had something different, you know. They all had something different. I enjoy good people. And like I said, Cleveland was good people. Houston's good people. San Antonio, good people. Of course, my family in LA. So everything brings something different. Like I was fortunate enough I didn't get one of them freezing cold cities like Utah and can't move and frozen stiff, or crazy New York traffic. I didn't have those unfortunate things, but and think about it, like New York, the Mecca of basketball, that was the greatest arena to play in. So everything has a different value for it. So for me, I took a lot out of different cities, and I enjoyed all of them, man. Truly enjoyed them.
A lot of people think Seattle will probably, if they expand, Seattle's probably the first choice, or maybe they go back and take it back there. Louisville's got the Yum Center, your home city. Louisville gets in the mix. Now, Dennis, there's different ones trying to bring the NBA to Louisville. Do you think Louisville should have a city? How do you think the NBA would do in your city? I mean, just your thoughts on that?
I love the idea of having an NBA team in the city. But Louisville people, if you lose, they don't come. So it's like you're asking. This is a college town. I think the team, if it's winning, everybody be there. It'll be sold out. The teams come in, it'll be sold out. But if they start losing, it'll be empty in that arena. If you don't believe me, look at the University of Louisville games.
Yeah,
they are empty. The girls have more fans than the guys do.
That's true. So even the Louisville team would have to be good, even though there's, AD would be coming in, or Karl Anthony Towns coming in, Boogie coming in, all these Kentucky players everywhere else. That still wouldn't be enough of a draw to.
No.
Jamal Murray coming in, whoever, Devin Booker coming in, none of that.
Huh? They'll come 1 or 2 games, but man, listen, it's just a different city. It's a college town. The fans care about how hard these kids work. It's a blue collar town. It's like, if you work hard, we'll support you. If you don't work hard, they're not coming.
And chances of it being good starting off is probably gonna be slim with an expansion team, right? Well, I definitely had to get your thoughts, because
no problem,
that's your city. That's your city, man, and you know the pulse of the city. You know how they will react for sure. So SEC tournament, then they do the brackets and all that. And is there any team out there that scares you, that worries you, as far from a matchup standpoint? Is anybody even?
No, nobody scares me now. I was worried about the Dukes. Not anymore. They have no idea how to play as a team. They just out there playing one-on-one. And when they do pass, it's out of force. So I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about anybody now. I think there's a lot. It's all even for us, and we've been playing really well. So I'm good. I know we can beat anybody at any game. And this is a team that I wouldn't be surprised got to the Final Four and made some noise. I would not be surprised, because we play well together. If Ty and all them guys are healthy, he's running at the one sometimes and getting Willer breaks. So, people want to go zone because he won't shoot a little bit. But Willer's still a good enough player to make decisions and make plays. I think if we put him in the right situation, I think this is a solid team that could actually win a championship. Like I didn't see it in the beginning, but seeing them play now at every position and being healthy, this is a team that could actually win a championship. And I'm excited now. I'm like, yeah, we can make some noise because nobody. I mean, we saw what we did to Kansas. We went there and beat them. You know what I mean? So I think way we beat North Carolina. I think we're built to win a championship right now.
And then you talk about how Duke doesn't play, as a team. How about that last game at Cameron where you have your celebration plan for Coach K after the game, and they get punked by Carolina, get ran in the second half. Da, dude, was that not hilarious?
That was funny. Karma something else, ain't it? Karma and Cameron.
He came out there and gonna say this is impromptu. He said this is unacceptable, and everybody tried to just start clapping, and he, no, y'all be quiet. Everybody shut up so I can apologize. That's basically what he said. I was like, really, dude? Really?
What he said.
Salty, man. So salty. And everybody came back. J. Will, Billis.
96 players showed up.
Everybody, man. Whew.
That was bad, man. That was bad. I don't know Coach K. I don't think I've ever met the guy. Yeah, I don't know him. I never played against Duke, so I've never met him, never seen him in person, so I don't know. Sometimes you always wish the best for people, when they're leaving out. He's done a lot for a lot of kids, so, salute to all the stuff he's done, but you got ran in your own, that's pretty bad. I mean, I don't know.
You just went to Carolina and beat them by 20 or whatever it was a couple of weeks ago over there.
You shouldn't look like that at home, though. That's terrible.
Right. 2-point game at halftime, and they scored 55. Carolina scored 55 points in the second half.
And they're not even scoring team.
They're not that good. Kentucky we beat them by 30 in Vegas or wherever, Chicago, where we played them.
We beat them. We beat them before the tip off.
Yes. And they come in to your last game ever there and drop 55 on you in the second half and win by 15. Just anyway, that was I was chuckling, man. I couldn't help it.
Head out, man.
DA, man, I appreciate you hopping on, giving the insights about this team, your time in the NBA, your time chopping it up with, Kareem and Magic and Jordan and all the cool stuff you've done. You got the AOK on your shirt. So for those who don't know everything you do, tell everybody what's going on with that and what you have coming up as far as speaking engagements and stamina and everything, the whole nine, man.
Well, Acts of Kindness is basically a program that teaches people and young people, you get what you give in this world. Whatever you're giving out is what you're going to get in this world. So we try to push it to our kids and our young people, man. Be cool with each other, support each other, share a better life with each other. And that's what we want them to do. So trying to get kids to better themselves in life. And then that pushes out into careers, sports, and just leaving a legacy beyond fame. Leave something behind that can outlive you. And so that's what we do with our Acts of Kindness program. I'm just excited, man. I'm speaking all across the country, sharing the message about stamina and not giving up. Of course, it's a different variety of not giving up as I try to show them and not talk to them. Anybody can talk, but can you show me how to get out of a situation? Can you show me how to survive? And me being the way I've grown up and dealt with life throughout my life, I can give people actually a better blueprint for something to go off of to continue to push forward. So I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to even coming back home to Kentucky and getting everything going.
Yeah, and that fame thing has been, always will be fleeting. It's not, it's people want to reach for it and try to grab it and get it, but it's you want to have more substance, and you kind of trying to teach substance and like you said, just the way you act, the way you treat people, not just try to get famous and then what. So it's not about just chasing fame for you.
Nah, got to be more, man. We're all people. We're all one person or one guy's children. So we got to focus on being cool with each other, being nice to each other, man, and living a good life while we're here.
Absolutely, man. Man, DA, I appreciate the time, man. Looking forward to watching this March Madness. This SEC tournament kicks off. Kentucky plays tomorrow night and then see how they do in Tampa there, see where they end up, and then make this 6-game push to try to bring a chip back to Lexington, man.
Sir, I'm excited, man. Hopefully we can do it. I'm gonna be everywhere.
That's it. Hey, y'all go to Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to this episode. Subscribe, give us 5 stars, tell your friends about it. Follow DA on Twitter if you're not already. Derek L. Anderson, see what he's into. And look, this has been another episode of Believe in Kentucky. We'll catch y'all next time. Appreciate you, DA. Appreciate y'all listening.
Yes.